I
That
think
had the
we
theme music.
I think we are. I don't have all that good stuff, Mr. Caref. We are live. One day I'll be big time. I'm a simple man and I like simple things. All
That's
right,
one
let's
man's
see.
opinion.
I'm a simple man and like simple things. There it is. Boom, boom, boom. Audio check, 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 check. They were complaining about my audio the other day. It was crackling up. I was using a different program and I'm learning the other program. I don't know if the way I had it set up was horrible, but this WebEx has been working well. I was just trying to do the other program. Here it is. Dwayne, I'm in MVS right now, sir. What's going on, Dwayne? Um, I got 36 people in here, so I guess we can start chopping this up. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp and are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. I know y'all are cooking out there, baking, I'm telling you. The praying mailman, if you don't know who he is, just look up the praying mailman. He sent me a picture today, and inside of his truck, it said 122 degrees.
Damn.
Unreal. He said, and I quote, he said he has a Dollar General on his route with working AC, and they're putting the sign up while it's 122 in the LLV. On the door, it says closing at 2 p.m. due to the heat. Sorry for any inconvenience, management. That's wild.
It's
That's
too
wild.
hot
So
even for
you,
the AC.
yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy.
And it's just like, starting with the pandemic, and there's been different periods throughout time, but the fact is getting hotter out there. Like, global, they used to call it global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it. There's
Hmm.
more hot days now than ever, more unbearably hot days, more weather patterns and things like that. Just like in the pandemic, we had, the hazard of COVID or whatever, but the theme is the same. No matter what it is, mailman, get your ass out there and deliver the mail, deal with it, right? So it's just very important. I think that, on the one hand, we're going to talk about some of the pay stuff today, is that we have a contract that reflects the sacrifices and the value
Hmm.
that we bring to America and to the Postal Service. I think that's paramount. And then, the next thing, obviously, is that we do everything we can to be safe. And, the most important delivery is delivering yourself home every day and making sure we're doing the right things to, keep cool or whatever. I wanted to show you something, Jay, if you don't mind. I don't know if you can
Absolutely.
see this, but so this right here is a pamphlet. Oh, is that my address? Whatever. um, anyway, this is a pamphlet that the Postal Service sent to everyone. I think, did you get this? Do you know? It should have
Deep the
went to,
heat.
it went to every letter carrier. I
I'm not a
don't,
letter carrier.
yeah, no, I know
Probably
that,
went to
but
the kids and the sister, but not me.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it would go to every postal employee. But whatever, either way. So we've been fighting with the Postal Service for some years now, since they came up with this heat illness prevention program. And we've
Right.
always been like, it'd be better if we work together on this heat illness prevention program because you guys are always gonna, you management, you're gonna short sell it. You're gonna do the minimum. You're gonna do the basic, and we want to do the maximum. We want to make sure that our people, know everything. So anyway, in this pamphlet here on these pages aren't numbered, but if you go to the middle, right in the middle, you see you can't read this, but okay, in the middle where the staples are at, on the
Okay.
left hand side, I just want everyone, and this information, it came to your house, but it should also be posted up in every post office. There should be stand up talks. You should be getting the same information. And that information down at the bottom, it says, take breaks to cool down as needed. And that is the key element to the heat illness prevention program. And the reason why as needed is important is because before they've sent us messages that have said things like take breaks as authorized, or basically take the break that you're entitled to anyway and don't do anything special for the heat, when in fact the science of the heat is that if you feel your body overheating, There's
Mm-hmm.
different symptoms, and it goes in there to tell you the symptoms: heat rashes, heat illness, heat whatever, or you're
Right.
getting dizzy, you're getting nauseous, whatever the symptoms are. You need to stop immediately and take a break. That's as needed. And in the letter carrier lingo, it's called a comfort stop. And a comfort stop is defined as anything that you need to do to continue, your deliveries, continue working. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, the comfort stop is going to the bathroom. I got to stop working, go to the bathroom, then I'm gonna come back and resume my deliveries. These are not breaks. These are not lunches, whatever. This is a comfort stop. And when it's hot out there, you take breaks as needed, meaning that if you need to stop and get some water, if you need to stop and go through the sprinkler, put your head in the fire hydrant, put a towel over your head, or you need to get into some AC if the Dollar General is open, then that's what you got to do, and it's called a
Right.
comfort stop. So I just encourage everyone to be safe out there. There's that video that's going around of a carrier, and one of the postal patrons customers is just losing her mind about this letter carrier out there could possibly be dead. I think that was in the Philadelphia area. What I heard is the carrier is okay. Well, survived. It's not, did not die. So that's great. What we do know is that recently in the Dallas area, there was a carrier that did die. Also, about 3 weeks ago, there was one in Grand Junction, Colorado. The one in Grand Junction, Colorado, and it was a very hot day, and it was one of those where the carrier was, like their first day back after time off work, or the first very hot day. That's the most dangerous time when your body's not acclimated. But
Right.
in Grand Junction, Colorado, the medical examiner said that it was not related to the heat, even though the carrier had been out in the heat walking for, I think it was like 15-mile walking route, all
Mm.
day in the 90 plus heat. But it was deemed to be like a heart attack or something like that, where they said not medical related, but you kind of scratch your head like, how can it not be heat related when these circumstances exist? But I haven't heard anything about the carrier in Dallas that passed away yet, other than that's branch 132 of the union, and they're mourning the loss of their brother. But to say it's caused by the heat, it was very hot also in Dallas that day as well. But we don't know for sure if we can pinpoint the cause. So anyway, man, thanks for giving me the opportunity to just spread that message. But man, carriers, be safe out there. We are essential workers. We do have a job to do, but that job does not include putting your life in jeopardy in any way possible. If you are even questioning whether you need to get into some shade or air conditioning or get yourself some water, the answer is yes. The answer is always yes. Stop what you're doing and take care of that first. The most important delivery is that you deliver yourself home at the end of the day. Please don't take no chances with this heat.
Damn, that was deep. Yeah, the AC went out in my office, man. It dropped down to shit. Oh, I think it was like 80 degrees in my office, and I was uncomfortable. I had to take my coat off. Wrong time? Wrong time? Not feeling the room?
Well, usually in
You know
most
what?
post
No, I'm just
offices,
kidding.
hey Jay, the kind of the joke about the post office is that they will fix the air conditioning right around September, October,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then they'll fix the heat right around like March or April.
Yep.
It's just like clockwork. They'll do that every year. So
That's it. Um, so I watched your video yesterday, and I had a video trying to cite some of the things off your Facebook. I don't have a Facebook for anybody that knows me. The only thing I have is this. And I was trying to explain the back pay and all that good stuff the best I could. I listened to you yesterday, and I was more last night, this morning, and I was more confused than anything. I tried to share it, but not everybody got a chance to look at it. So I felt like this is the perfect opportunity for you to clear up a couple of questions. And I'm gonna just kind of let you have the floor. And before we get into that, let me say hello to everybody. Thank you for stopping by. And Rasta Oscar. Oscar is actually the one that just spoke to me about what we're talking about behind the scenes about the scanner thing. And maybe I'll do a video on that about the scanner later. Um, Will, Money Chaser, Chooch,
Chooch.
James. supervisor, when we clock in, safety first, blah, blah, blah. All right. Um, so much going on behind the scenes. The Congress just had something on a few minutes ago with about the post office. I know there was a couple things that were voted down or they didn't let pass in regards to the new hires and all that good stuff. But people didn't come on here for that. They want to know about pay, what they're getting paid, what the possibilities are, when they're getting paid. You mentioned stuff about the COLA and not keeping up. I Floor is yours, man. If you got it in front of you, give them the information. But before you start, I want y'all to know Mr. Caref has his channel, and he will
We're in
be
business,
doing,
baby.
I believe, once or twice a month. I'm not sure. He'll be doing Ask Me Anything, where he's gonna be on and just ask him whatever. Ask him why he's turning gray. I don't know.
I gotta trim this down a little. You can't see the gray.
Oh
That's
man.
but for some people, I'm running for president of the union, and people are looking for someone wise. So sometimes I dye it gray so that I'll play the part a little bit better. So I do that.
Okay, understood. Understood. Maybe in about 30 years I'll reach your age, but right now, I'm still no. Please do your thing, explain away. That way I don't look silly trying to explain it. Go for it.
All right, let's get into it, man. So I'll come back to the show. It's called Mic Drop Mondays. It's on the Caref for Prez YouTube channel. So we'll come back to that in a minute. So we can, anyway, I'll come back to that. The pay, so this is the letter carrier's new contract, right? And the contract went into effect on March 21st of this year. And the contract that we were working under had previously expired May 20th of 2023. So the terms of the contract lay out when you're going to get your raises, both cost of living raises, general wage increases, step increases. Everything is laid out by the terms of the contract. When the contract expired May 20th of 2023, there was no more raises to be had because the contract didn't extend out beyond that time frame. Nobody knew what the raises would be. That was the extent of the negotiations. So we're sitting there going through this whole long negotiating period. Not going to go over all that again, other than to say we got screwed. But it is what it is. In that new contract that we ended up getting on March 21st of 2023, there was a bunch of raises built into the contract. Specifically, you had a cost of living allowance twice a year, and you had a general wage increase once a year. And the general wage increases were every November. So the contract expired May 20th of 2023. The new contract, 1.3% in November of 2023, 1.4% in November of 2024, and 1.5% in November of 25. And then you had cost of living allowances, which take place twice a year. And so when we got a new contract, the post office went ahead on April the 19th, not the April 19th check, but starting on that date, your pay was now upgraded based on the 6 raises that you got, but you didn't get them in real time, but you got them retroactively back to that time. Those 6 raises included 4 cost of living allowances, which you had one August to 26th effective date, August 26th of 2023. You had 2 cost of living allowances in 2024 and another one at the beginning of 2025. Then you had that general wage increase that I just referred to in November of 2023, the other one in November of 2024. So when they updated everyone's pay, it was approximately a 6.32% raise across the board. And you saw that on your first check in May. So on your first check in May, I'm going to pull up the date right quick. I think it was May the 2nd. Yeah, May the 2nd check. You saw that big increase. Everyone got a jump in pay, 6.32%, which was all of those pay raises that you didn't get them in real time, but you got them afterwards. Now, the post office owes us. They owe us for all of the money that they should have paid us during that time frame, but they didn't. So beginning August 26th of 2023, all the way up until April 18th of 2025, that's the back pay period. And so the charts are out, and the charts are telling you if you worked 40 hours a week during that time frame, here's what your back pay will be. of course, a lot of us letter carriers are working way more than 40 hours a week. And the back pay is going to be based on the number of hours that you work. So if I had this number of straight time hours, this number of overtime hours, this number of penalty hours, all that got to get added in. And so under the terms of the contract, we didn't get a firm date from the Postal Service on when they're going to give us our back pay. And we also didn't get any interest on them, holding on to our monies. But they did tell us that we can expect the back pay in August or possibly early September. And when the back pay comes, it's going to vary based on your rate of pay and based on how many hours you worked. But it's going to be somewhere between, at a low end, $1,500, on a high end, maybe like $6,000 or $7,000 even, depending on how many hours you work. So everyone is looking forward to that back pay. We did already get that, like I said, that 6.32% raise, which encompasses all of those 6 pay raises that we didn't get between those dates of August 26th, 2023 and April 18th of 2025. And then there was something else that the Postal Service was supposed to do. Per the terms of the contract, there was 3 things that they were supposed to do within 180 days of ratification of the contract. And Jay, pay attention, because there's similar type provisions in the APWU contract that you guys have yet to vote on and ratify. But if you do accept those terms, then it would be the same thing. They have 180 days to implement. And so with our contract, they had 180 days to implement an increase of $1,000 in pay at the high step. So the high step ended up, after the raise, being like $81,000 per year. So now it went up to $82,000 per year. Of course, we haven't seen it on our check yet, but it went into effect on what day did it go into effect? Was it June? It went into effect June. Yeah, it went into effect June the 14th. I'm sorry,
14th,
June the 14th.
yeah.
It went into effect. So June the 14th, there was three things they're supposed to give us.
Yeah.
3 things they're supposed to give us. One of those was the $1,000 increase. The other one was 50 cents for CCAs. They got a 50-cent raise, the CCAs. And then the third thing, they haven't done it yet, but they're expected to do it within like a month, is starting pay will go up to step B. Previously, starting pay on the career pay scale was actually double A, but they eliminated double A and A. And going forward, once they make this change, starting pay will be B. There's no back pay on any of this. That's just going forward. So when you look at your check, which will be on Independence Day, July the 4th, go ahead and pop the fireworks, because everyone at the top step got that additional $1,000 is built into your salary. Now, that's not a lump sum. And people are saying, where's my $1,000? Well, am I going to get $1,000? You don't want $1,000. I mean, in theory, you would, but it's better to be built into your salary, because now you're going to get that $1,000, not just this year, but next year and the year after that, and in perpetuity. Your pay went up by $1,000 at the top step, which is about 50 cents per hour. And then, of course, the CCAs, their pay went up by exactly 50 cents per hour. So you got both of those things to look forward to. You got the pay increases that went into effect on April the 19th. They came on the May 2nd check. And then sometime over the summer, late summer probably, we're expecting to see that back pay. So all of that is a little green. That is good. You brought up the COLA thing. So the American Postal Workers Union, it's interesting. So you guys negotiated your contract, I think it was in 2012 or 2011.
Right.
But after the whole Great Recession, like 2008, 2009, after that, the post office lost a ton of revenue. Whatever. First class mail volume was down. People started using the internet more. They call it electronic substitution. And then you had all these, real estate, everything was down, right? All the markets were down. The economy was down. So people were sending less things through the mail. Anyway, the post office had less money. Negotiations were rough for all of the unions at that time. And the American Postal Workers Union went in and agreed. And I think you guys booted your president over this issue, but you guys agreed that there would be a 2-tier system. And the 2-tier system was that you would start way lower and end way lower. So if you look at, what I'm looking at, it's here and here versus what it used to be was here and here. So it used to
Right.
be start higher and end higher. And the contract you guys negotiated was start lower and end lower. And you're thinking, like, why would they agree to that? Well, what they got out of that contract was a full cost of living allowance. And so if the cost of living allowance is calculated at, let's say, $500 additional to your salary,
Hmm.
everybody on the APWU pay chart gets $1,000. I mean, $500. Everyone gets that
Right.
amount in the letter kit. So we went after you guys, and we ended up with an arbitration award January 10th of 2013 by Scheinman Das. Call it the Das Award. When we got the Das Award, we got a lower starting pay, just like you guys got, but we did not get that lower top pay. We went all the way to the top. So that's why the top pay for a city letter carrier is higher right now than a level 6 clerk that started after 2012. You guys got grandfathered in. If a person had started before 2012, they go all the way to the top. But a
Right.
person that started after 2012, they don't go to the top anymore. City letter carriers, we do go to the top. We start low, just like you guys are starting low now. But the difference is what we paid for is that we now have a proportional COLA. And we've got a proportional COLA in the next 3 contracts after that, continuing in this contract. And what happens with the proportional COLA is if the cost of living allowance is $500, that means the person at the top gets 500, but then the person right below that, they only get 480, and then
Oh,
450, and then 420, and then 400. And the person at the bottom, they only get like 300 out of those $500. So what happened is over time, so now fast forward like 12 years, lapsed, right? So you start at the bottom and we start at the bottom, right? And you're
hmm.
thinking we have a better contract because we go all the way up to the top and you guys do not go all the way up to the top. And we're like, hey, this is a better deal, except for what happened is every time when there was a cost of living allowance, and keep in mind, there's 2 cost of living allowances every year. Every time there's a cost of living allowance, here's the letter carriers, right? We're going up by 60%. You guys are going up by 100%,
100%. Yeah.
100%, 100%, 60, 100%, 60. So now, as of last year, you guys are starting pay for a level 6 clerk. And I know tractor trailer operators are the higher level, different levels in the APW pay chart, but you're looking at 27, 28 was your starting pay. With your new contract, it's going to go up even more. The letter carrier pay as of last year was like $22.13, way lower than the
Yeah.
starting clerk. And the reason is because of that cost of living. So you could still compare them and say, hey, I'd rather be a letter carrier because at the end, I'm going to make more money. And when I go into retirement, my retirement is based on my top pay at the end of my, career. And you can make that argument. But the fact of the matter is that, and this ain't no shot at anyone. I think everyone in the post office would agree with this. The letter carrier job is just harder. I mean, the dangers of the job, being out there on the street, the levels of responsibility. Right now, we're dealing with the heat. We're getting stuck up at gunpoint sometimes out there. I mean, it's just a lot. And most people would agree that the pay should be a little bit higher, but it would actually take you, almost 10 years, I think now, to make the same amount of money as a clerk. So for the first like 10 years of your career, if you start as a clerk, a career clerk, you're going to make more than a career letter carrier. And then at some point, because carriers go higher, the carriers then would kind of make more money after that. But it's just wholly unfair. And then one thing that happened, which is, it's just kind of some nerdy math, but because we have a proportional COLA, it's proportion to the top. So I mentioned that everybody at the top got $1,000 raise. So you're like, whoop-de-doo, everyone got $1,000 raise. This is a good thing, right? At the top. All the other steps did not get $1,000 raise. So when you look at proportion, my percent to the person at the top actually went down a little bit because the top got higher. If the top goes higher, that means me at the bottom, I'm further away from the top. I'm $1,000 further from the top.
Damn.
My percent is actually lower. So now my proportional COLA is actually slightly lower because I lost a little bit of percent to the top on that one.
The
So
difference.
yeah, and that's the fact that we don't get the full cola, we get a proportional cola, and then they negotiated a contract that gives the top an additional 1,000, but doesn't give any of the other steps the $1,000. That kind of pissed some of our members off because, like, damn, now our cost of living is going to be even less, based on that percent to the top. So, anyway, that's a summary on the pay stuff. I don't know
Damn.
if that made sense or that kind of worked for
If it
everyone,
didn't
but
make sense, they're gonna have to play this back in slow motion, play it at half speed so they can
try.
comprehend it. That's a lot to absorb,
It's a
but
lot,
those are the
man.
facts.
That pay chart, and then I didn't even get into the whole table one versus table two, and the pay
Oh
chart. I always say to
man.
people, it almost takes an accountant to try to figure it out. But that's what goes into contract negotiations, and you kind of you trust your leadership to make good decisions on behalf of all of the members, and everyone's situation is not exactly the same, and you got to take all this into consideration and try to fight for and or negotiate the best possible economic contract that you can, and all of these factors come into play in that.
So on behalf of the carriers, and I'm not a carrier, um, and just let me step off of this for 1 second. Not everybody in my chat um is gonna be voting for Caref. I get it.
Me
I
too.
understand that. Vote your conscience. That's what I tell everybody when the time comes. But what I'd like for you guys to do is, if you're able to absorb information from Mike, go over to the channel. If he's sharing information, gather information from him. If Henry is sharing information, go over there and get information from him. Don't have tunnel vision where you say, I'm not gonna listen to it. Don't do that. Gather information from everybody, because if one person is sharing information about this, somebody will be sharing information about that. There's too much divisiveness going on here. Um, and it shows up in the chat all the time. Right now, it's not. That's great. But I'd like for y'all to, you don't have to say much. Just listen. I was taking a shower this morning. I was listening to your melodious voice for that whole hour and some change.
That's scary.
Don't judge me, brother. Don't judge me. But that's where I got that information, and I'm sitting there like, damn, there's no way I can relay what you just said. There's no way. But people need to understand that if you're going to share information and you're able to gather information, information is key. It's clutch. Second thing, on behalf of the carriers, I know it's an unfair question, but I'm gonna ask the question. If you had the opportunity to, um, not against my APWU, would you try to close the gap between carrier pay and clerk pay? Is that something that is realistic? We're gonna be realistic. Fuck all the stuff I talk about and shit starting that I do. But is that something that's realistic? I know you mentioned something about 3 contracts having to do with the difference in the colas going at
Right.
60%. Is there a way that you could renegotiate it if you had the power to bring the carriers up? Because the reality is, you saw the video, I sent it to you. It's not fair when I got the praying mailman sending me 122 degrees inside the vehicle. It's not fair. I was training a lady today, and I said, this is a job that I can't do. This is a job I can't do. I can't physically, and I'm very fit, but I could not do it. And I applaud all the carriers that do it, whether they agree with me or not. I don't give a fuck. But I do appreciate the fact that they're out there sacrificing their life. So I'm asking you, is it realistic to request more for a carrier to close that gap?
So I think it is, and I'll tell you why. And we used to negotiate together back in like the '80s. The APWU and the NELC. It was joint bargaining committees, and so you had different work rules depending on what craft you were in. Just like right now, you guys had different crafts within the APWU, but
Right.
pay was negotiated the same. And so what happened at some point, we split and we started negotiating separately. And when it was 1999, the NELC made an argument to an arbitrator that letter carriers work harder and deserve more. It was like little buttons, and it was a whole thing. We were having rallies and pickets and everything. And the arbitrator agreed with us, Arbitrator Fleischle. So that's on the record. That's something you can build on. It says letter carriers work harder, letter carriers deserve more. So if I go in to negotiate a contract with the Postal Service, and I know that an arbitrator in 1999 already said that letter carriers deserve more than a level 6 clerk, I think I'm comfortable making that argument that if the level 6 clerk is at like $28 an hour starting, then the carrier needs to be at 28.50, 29, 30, somewhere one step above what that starting pay is. And then of course, at the top, I'm making the argument that the law calls for comparability to pay and benefits of those in the private sector of the economy of the United States. And UPS drivers are paid at the top significantly more than any of us, really. And especially with their last contract. I mean, at the end of their contract, they're going to go up to $49 an hour. You're probably
Shit.
making that kind of money, tractor
I'm
trailer
sitting there
operator,
like,
but
God damn, man, they not driving tractor trailer
but
shit. Like I go over
your
there.
clerks and your clerks and your letter carriers are not making that. And they get 100% of their health insurance paid. They got a real uniform program, and they actually did negotiate better language, in my opinion, on air conditioning in the vehicles, where we don't really have good language. And what we're seeing right now is that the post office has been slow to roll out the next generation delivery vehicle. So it's just, anyway, when you compare your contract, you want to compare it to the UPS driver's contract that the Teamsters negotiated, because that's what the law says. So I think we can make a good argument that would say, hey, the floor cannot be lower than what a level 6 clerk makes. And the ceiling should be comparable to the ceiling for a UPS driver, which, by the way, they make their top pay after 4 years of being a driver.
Yeah.
And it takes us, same like you guys,
Yeah.
12, 13 years, slogging through the pay scale. So I think we got legitimate arguments. I liked our arguments a lot better in the summer of 2023. So when our contract expired, May 20th of 2023, I really liked our argument. And you saw UAW, you saw the Teamsters, you saw the longshoremen, you saw, because after the pandemic, inflation was so high, everyone started getting big raises. And they were essential workers, just like we were essential workers. And it's like, okay, let's go. It's our time to shine, and we got this chance. So we really blew that opportunity.
Somebody was missing.
Yeah, well, missing, and he actually, President Renfro came back to work in like the end of June of 2023, but he did not pull the trigger and say, hey, if the post office is not coming to the table right, we're going to go to interest arbitration. I don't know why he did that, but I think that really harmed us. But still, I would make that case going forward. I don't think we're in as strong of a position, but those realities that I just spoke about, they still exist. Those realities are still there. And the way you do it is by eliminating steps at the bottom. And President Renfro was able to eliminate 2 steps at the bottom of the pay scale. I had said that previously, the lowest step for a career carrier was like $22 an hour. And when they eliminated the AA and the A, and step B becomes the bottom. So if step B is the bottom, it's now going to be about $26 an hour, which is still lower than a level 6 clerk, but it's a lot higher than 22. So if you would have eliminated step B as well, or maybe even B and C, and started at that level, now you're kind of where you want to be. And that might have been a fair contract. I don't think the one we got was a fair contract, but of course, man, negotiations, and it's a good question, because I always tell people, you go into negotiations, and we're gonna ask for $1 million and a brand new Cadillac every year, and the post office is gonna want to give you $10 an hour in a book of stamps, and you're gonna have to find some happy medium in there somewhere. But I think we deserve more, and I think we were deemed essential, and let's treat us like we're essential for the work that we do.
I got an unfair question for you, but
I love it.
I'm gonna give you an unfair question.
I already love it. Go ahead. You
Let's
said, what
just
you say? Ask me anything. You said I'm gonna do a
there
show.
it is. I'm trying to word it so it's not offensive, but this is something that obviously the carriers would ask. If you were in the position, let's say in a year or two, I know Renfro's gonna be there next year, but if you were in Renfro's position before you go into the before you go to negotiate? Would you actually say, hey, carriers, this is what I'm negotiating for before you go behind closed doors? Because that's a big problem for the carriers. It's a big problem for all of us. Shit, I just, with my APWU as well. And I like Diamondstein. I was a little shocked that I felt like the ball dropped a little bit, but that's my opinion. Um, would you be willing to say, hey, look, we shooting for 30. Now, I don't know we're gonna get 30, but this is what I promise you. I'm walking in there and this is what I'm asking for. I can't promise that we're gonna come out with that because the transparency, it changes the ball game, man. It brings trust because right now they don't trust the
Man,
leadership.
I tell you, it brings trust, and it also, because you need everyone unified and behind you. That makes you stronger. So it builds that trust, but also transparency makes your bargaining position stronger. And I looked at the example of the president of the Teamsters Union, and you can
Hmm.
go back and look. They were posting. He was doing videos and he was posting information. He had a detailed list of all the things that had to be
Yes.
included in a new contract, and he's checking them off. He's like, got that. We talked to them. They're good with that. We're gonna have to talk to them some more about this one, that kind of thing. Very transparent with the members, had a plan, had an agenda. The way I would do it is I wouldn't say we need $30 an hour. What I would say is our starting pay, just as an example, our starting pay should be higher than the starting pay of a level 6 clerk. Let's start there, right? Uh,
Hmm.
our our top pay should be comparable to UPS drivers' top pay, like the law says. Our grievance procedure needs to work. Our uniform program needs to work. The transfer rules need to be updated. There's not enough full-time regulars out there based on some of the rules that exist now. So you just kind of present the challenges, and then I tell the membership, here's the issues that we need to make some progress on. I'm going to start these negotiations with the Postal Service, and I'm going to keep you guys posted every single step of the way on how those negotiations go. And if the Postal Service is not willing to work with us on these, what I call joint issues, because
Hmm.
every time you have an issue in your contract, that's a demoralized workforce. That's people that are not, you don't have job retention, you don't have
Right.
staffing,
Discouraged.
you don't have service, all of that. These are joint problems. The grievance procedure not working right now, at least on our end. I don't know how it is for the APWU, but we have big delays and we have big compliance issues with our grievances, and that needs to be fixed. The uniform program is horrible. The prices have
Mm.
doubled, and they give you like a 2% increase in the uniform allowance. That's crazy. So I would start from the point of you got to fix these problems. We got to fix these problems together. And I would much rather work with the Postal Service on fixing these problems. Maybe we can help them out. There's some things I believe we can help them out, like in the hiring process and some things like that. I believe we can help them out in the grievance process to reduce some of those costs, because every time you don't resolve a grievance, it goes to the next level, and the Postal Service has to pay both sides to hear that issue and hear
Right.
that
Right.
issue again and hear that issue again. It would be much better if you had a functional grievance process where you're resolving those grievances at the lower level. So these are just examples of how you approach contract negotiations. But to your point, man, transparency is key. It builds confidence in the membership and trust, and it gives you a lot more leverage that you wouldn't have if you're having these secret negotiations. Because when I go in there and talk to the Postal Service, I'm going to tell them straight up, say what you want to say, offer what you want to offer, but I'm going back and telling these letter carriers tomorrow exactly what you said today. So come with your best offer, because I'm reasonable, but they're not. you
Okay.
know.
Um, so again, another uncomfortable question. I don't know if it's directed towards you. I don't know if you saw the APWU debate. Diamondstein is on his way out.
I did not.
I am going to send it to you then.
Okay.
And I'd love to see you and Mr. Henry in the same format. It can be done because I just got the video yesterday. I'm going to send you the video. I haven't posted it for the rest of them yet because it's a very long video, but I like the questions. I like the demeanor. I like, man, the structure of it. If you had the opportunity, would you have a respectful debate with Mr. Henry and just kind of hash it out just so that the members can hear both sides on a level playing field? Because I know you mentioned it before. Now that I've seen it, I know it can be done.
Right. And I would love to see that. First and foremost, I'm a letter carrier, and first and foremost, I'm a member of the union, and I would love to see that. So, as a candidate for president, I'm going to do what I would want. What's good for the members of the union, and what I would want as a member of the union.
Hmm.
Funny you should bring this up because we are having the Illinois State Association of Letter Carriers convention this week in Springfield, Illinois. And I'll be there, obviously. Brother James Henry, the vice president of our union, was assigned to attend that convention by our national president. So he will be there. We will be together in the same space for a period of about 3 days. Um,
Okay.
I would hope that there's some time within those 3 days for him and I to get in front of those letter carriers that are assembled, and give our perspectives, give our stump speeches or whatever, and take questions that the members would have. Or you could do it on some type of online forum, like, let's say, if you had a YouTube show with a lot of followers and your name was like JH or something, and you wanted to moderate something like that. You could maybe reach out to Brother Henry, if you had his phone number,
I
possibly.
you just you just throwing it out there. I've
I'm just
asked
saying,
Brother
if
Henry.
you could possibly get in contact with the brother and just put it to him, hey man, is this something you'd be willing to do? I think a lot of people would be interested in seeing that. I'm one of them. I'd like to see it too, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, man, I'm all for that. The show we're doing is called Mic Drop Mondays. It's early in the production stage as far as putting it together and some of the production stuff, and then we bring on guests. And anyway, so go check it out. You can see it if you put in Mic Drop Mondays or you put in Caref for Prez. You can subscribe to the channel, and then every Monday we release a show. But to your point, we're going to do probably about once a month. Ask me anything. Maybe we'll come up with a catchy name for it or whatever. But make it so that the members will be able to ask any questions they want. No, nothing scripted. Just like in the real world, man. You go
Right.
to a union meeting, you go to a post office, and you take them as they come. Whatever questions people have, they are members of the union. We work for you, and so whatever questions they have is fine. Um, we've been taping the episodes just because like I said, we're new, but at some point we'll start doing them live, and the questions will come in live, and we'll kind of figure out how to do all that. I don't want to give you guys a date, but for sure this summer, and then probably about once a month after that, we'll start having those kind of episodes where anyone can ask whatever question they want. So
Okay. Um, Anybody that's in the chat at the moment that knows about editing, because I'm not a great editor, period. I'm not even really a great moderator. I'm a shit talker. That's my thing. But I could definitely use some help if you can email. This is specific. Don't email me for nothing else right now. Email me if you're able to kind of help format and maybe show me a different method as to I want to kind of help Caref here get some things situated. If you can email me behind the scenes, somebody will drop my email in the chat. Um, just on a you know on a level of hopefully you get to learn and I get to learn as well. Also, I appreciate this. There was a couple people asking about these NGDVs. Do you know much about them? I do, but I'm asking, do you know much about where they're
you
being assigned to?
I know that they're being assigned to the what they call the SNDCs, the sortation and delivery centers. Those are getting first priority. I know a lot of them are electric. I don't know if all of them are electric. They
Hmm.
also have like a e-transit van that's
Yes.
electric, but of course the e-transit is a regular off-the-shelf vehicle. So, it's a regular, what is it, left hand? What do we drive on the left side? It's a left hand drive vehicle, but
Right.
if especially if you have any type of mounted delivery or whatever, you need that right hand drive vehicle. So the next generation delivery vehicle, just like the LLV, just like the Metris, is a right hand drive vehicle, and so it's been real slow rolling out the right hand drive next generation delivery vehicle. I don't know the numbers, how many thousands are they going to need versus how many have they rolled out so far. But I know it's slow, and I know they're going to those SNDC sites first. But what more do
So,
you know?
well, the way they're being distributed is from I'm this because I'm in safety and we have to train them all. They are being assigned to routes, not specific offices. So obviously through data, what they do is they'll say, okay, this vehicle will not go into a neighborhood. Let's say it's a business route. We know it's not going to hit trees. We know, etc. So they have them route specific, and that's coming from up top. So an area like mine, somewhere USA, we're getting about 70 of them. So they'll be sporadic. There may be two that goes to a station. There
Hmm.
might be one going to another station, but again, they are route specific. So a lot of people were asking, "Oh, I'll never get one." It will only because they're so big. They're damn near the size of a 2 ton, height wise,
Yeah,
and also width.
they're big.
So they're not really meant to go into small wooded areas where the top will get chopped off. They do have AC. There are 4 different models. There's a 2-wheel drive, there's a 4-wheel drive, all electric. There's a 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive hybrid. So it's a mix.
Uh-huh.
Um, just for those that say, "Oh, it ain't gonna last." They are low to the ground and they're very slow. They're very slow. They
Oh,
have
really?
yes, they have sensors all around them.
They're no
Uh,
Tesla,
no, no, no.
huh?
They're gonna last the full day. But there are no cameras facing the people. I guess y'all negotiated
That's
that.
good.
There is a 360 view from the top. There are cameras on everything else, though. So the sensors that are around the bumpers won't allow them to back up into something. So if they're not paying attention to the camera and they go back up, they're not going to hit a fire hydrant. It's actually going
It'll
to
stop.
stop. Yeah. It's uncomfortable, but
Hope
I
you have a
mean, it is
seatbelt
what it
on.
is. The doors, some of the doors, like you can't get into the back door unless your driver's side door is closed. It's interesting. I got a couple videos about it, but
Yeah,
I
they did that on
did.
purpose. Actually, the thing with the back door, I thought that was strange too, because we saw a couple of models, as they were rolling them out or as they were designing them,
Hmm.
and there's a strong opinion out there that it's safer to work curbside. So, like on the right hand, you open up that door on the right hand side, and you're working as far as loading your mail and stuff on the right hand side, versus in back of the vehicle where if someone is driving out of control, whatever, they run into the back of the vehicle, they can kill you. They can hit you right
Right.
there. If you're working from the curb on the side, it's considered to be safer. So they designed the vehicle so that they would discourage you working out of the back of the vehicle.
Back of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I show a video in one of my in my class where there's a carrier and he gets slammed from the back. Just he went back there just to grab something out, and I believe the lady had a lady or a man had a seizure and just ran into the back of him, and he
Right.
just folded over, uncomfortable. I'm not gonna hold you much. I know you have other things going on. Um, I know there was a lot of questions in here, but again, for those that are in the comments that I really can't see too much, this was basically just to get the pay out the way so you could kind of understand what the pay was, how it was factored in. And you're anticipating somewhere towards the end of August, is what you're saying?
The back pay, yeah, they're saying, and it's unfortunately there's no contract language that says the back pay will be paid as of this date. And like I said, there's no interest on the back pay. So obviously there's a concern that the post office is going to drag their feet, but they have assured us that they're on schedule, and they're on schedule meaning is like August, no later than the first part of September. That's their schedule right now. So.
Obviously the union will know first, right? You guys will like put it on the website a couple
Yeah,
weeks in advance.
I would think so. I would assume they're gonna. I mean, this is a big project, so I'm assuming that it's not going to be one day to the next. They're going to tell us like next month or next pay period kind of thing.
Mhm.
You really can't go tax exempt. That's one little thing that people like to do. But the way they do the back pay is they go back and recalculate what your pay should have been in that particular pay period. And then
Mhm.
they'll deduct your taxable money based on your deductions in that particular pay period.
Period. Yep.
So you can go tax exempt in August. That's not really going to help you as far as the back pay.
I told them to raise their TSPs. People were like, no, you good. But
Yeah.
anyway, all right. I appreciate that, man. In closing, this is your world, please. There's a lot of people talking about crossing graphs and all of the other stuff, but speak your piece. You want to plug your channel,
Well, I was
anything
about
you
to
want to
say, I definitely want, please subscribe to the channel. You guys are YouTubers. So we released the show. It's audio and visual. So we're able to like put stuff up on the screen when we're talking about those things. So I like that format a little bit better. Of course, if you have YouTube, particularly if you have YouTube Premium or whatever. So if you guys subscribe to the channel, Caref for Prez, you'll get all the updates. This is coming. It comes out every Monday. Mic drop Mondays. But you can also look at it on Spotify. You can look at it. You can hear it on the podcast formats, Apple Podcast or whatever. So anyway, just trying to get information out, be accessible to the members, and provide stuff that is pertinent and timely and all that. And I appreciate you bringing up the heat at the beginning of the program here tonight. I think it's just we just really have to keep in mind that heat can kill you. That heat can kill you, and it's getting hotter out there. There's more hot days than ever, and I know people are in different places around the country, and the weather moves around a little bit. But just especially if someone is new to the game, let them know what the chips are and the things they need to do to keep themselves cool out there. And then if there's a situation where somebody is coming back to work that needs to get reacclimated to the heat because they might have been on vacation, sitting in some air conditioning for a week or two. You come back, it's a shock to your body. All of a sudden, you're outdoors and it's 90 plus for 8-9 hours, and your body can't handle it. So, the acclimation and taking it slow on that first day back is very important. Knowing what the signs are, so that you can take necessary breaks and do the things that you have to do. So I'll just repeat, brothers and sisters, the most important delivery is you delivering yourself home every night. Please do
boom,
that for your families. Please do that.
boom, 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 boom. Mike, I thank you. Listen, I sent you the video. I
Yeah,
think
I'm gonna
I
check that
forwarded
out.
it to. It's almost 2 hours long. Um, I'll send the video as well to Mr. Henry. And
Yeah.
I don't want to get in the middle of that too much, but if he agrees to it, y'all are more than welcome. You know, I'll be a lot more professional as the best I could. And just
No doubt.
I'd like to see it. I'm sure that the carriers want to hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people, oh, he won already. No, because a lot of people thought that thought they thought that tentative agreement was going to pass. It
Right.
didn't.
Right.
The voice of the carriers need to be heard. Not everybody agrees with each other. And I said the same thing with my tentative agreement. I tell people, look, I don't like it. Just because I don't like it, vote your conscience. Ain't nobody gonna hurt you to, vote your conscience. Yes, I'll express my opinion. I think that we could have fought for more. On my end, I don't know if you know the backside. I don't think you're even listening, but I felt like they did everything for the clerks in on our contract. So all the skilled laborers didn't get anything.
Mm.
And we got skilled laborers, you got the truck drivers, you got the electricians, you got the
Yeah.
maintenance mechanics. None
And,
of us got any bump. So I
and
was a little
honestly, man, I
vexed
don't
about that.
know. I don't know the details, but when you're looking at comparability to the private sector, those tradespeople are doing pretty good. tractor trailer drivers are doing pretty good. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So you're looking at comparability. I could see where you would have a beef there. You know, like,
Yep.
hey, we're skilled tradespeople, tradesmen,
Yeah.
whatever the term is. You know, but yeah. So do you? When is your vote? Like, what is your time frame to get
It
the ballots back or whatever?
well, the funny thing is the ballots came out. I don't know if you've been following, you probably haven't. Ballots came out and the return envelope is missing.
Oh
Is
wow.
missing a number. Is missing a number on the zip code. It does have a barcode, but it's the
Okay. Yeah.
optics of it. So I made a full
Yeah.
video about it. I was like, it's missing. It's in New York, so it starts with a one, but the one was missing on everybody's ballot.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, man, if the post office is nothing but it was based off of zip codes, how can we do something so, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and I know the printer, somebody might have made a mistake, but the printer will give you a proof. They'll say, "Hey, here's what it's going to look like," and then
yeah,
you're supposed
so
to review it and make sure everything is good.
just thinking about, but you have to look at what the APWU watched everything that you guys went through. They watched how you guys were, you know what I mean? They don't trust the unions. And then you get a ballot and you miss it. You know what I mean? It's the
Right,
optics of it. They're
right.
like, what the kind of bullshit is this? And I'm like, man, it's disappointing. We could do better. But it is what it
I'm
is.
with you, man. The union, we have to set the standard. We have to be professional because we're representing, the finest members out there in the world, right? I mean, you're putting on that face for them on their behalf. And so,
Mhm.
the details matter, man. I'm with you on that. You want it
Details
you want it
matter.
done right. You want it done right.
That's it. I know you got stuff to do. I'm looking at the time. I
Yeah, I got
appreciate you
another
coming
meeting.
on. Feel free to knock. We'll chat behind the scenes. Postal family, I appreciate y'all listening. If you didn't get everything that you needed, go back to the beginning of the video. What I tell people is it's live. It might be an hour long. I don't know. Play it at double speed. That's how you get to listen to everything. Seriously, that's how I listen to certain things. I play it at double speed. That way I can get a 10-minute video done in 5 minutes. That way you can hear everything you need. All right. Um, and that's all I got to say about that. Again, thank you very much for explaining that. Hopefully that cleared everything for them. I got people in my chat. Jay, I'm so mad I came late. He's literally in my chat group. I sent it to him. Hey, I'm going on live in a few minutes. He gonna show up late. Get out of here. All right. This is JH. Thank you, Mike Caref. Be safe, brother. Be safe out
Yeah,
there in
appreciate that.
Chi-Town.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right. We
Have a good
out.
night, brother.
Boom. And we ended it. Cool.
Nice.
Got the message out.